Kia ora team, and welcome to our third video on Achievement Standard 91502, where we are taking a final look at some of our critical thinking tools or processes. Learning outcome for today is to be able to explain, describe, and use the third of three critical analysis tools or processes. So today we are looking at the Bono 6 thinking hats as a tool. So this is a time-tested, proven, and practical thinking tool. So it was developed by this guy, Edward de Bono, who's pictured there on the right. And it provides a framework to help people think clearly and thoroughly by directing their thinking attention in one direction at a time. So the idea behind this method is that the human brain thinks in a number of distinct ways, which can allow for you to develop tactics for thinking about particular issues. De Bono identifies 6 distinct directions in which the brain thinks. Now, in each of these directions, the brain will identify and bring into conscious thought certain aspects of issues being considered. So the 6 directions or themes include a white hat, which is about facts, a green hat, which is about creativity, yellow hat, focus on benefits, black hat was about cautions or negatives, red hat is all about feelings, and the blue hat is all about processes. So we're going to take a closer look at each of the hats as we progress through this video. First of all, the white hat. So the white hat calls for information known or needed. It's the facts and just the facts. So it really covers, as we said, facts, figures, data, and information. Now, too often, facts and figures are embedded in an argument or belief. So wearing your white hat allows for you to present the information in a neutral and objective way. Questions you might ask here include, what information do we have? What information is missing? What information would we like to have? How are we going to get the information? So that's the white hat. The yellow hat symbolizes brightness and optimism. Under this hat, you explore the positives and probe for value and benefit. So really, it's all about optimism and logical ways of viewing things. Wearing the yellow hat allows you to look for benefits, feasibility, and how something can be done. Questions you might ask while wearing the yellow hat include, what are the benefits of this option? Why is this proposal preferable? What are the possible or positive assets of the design? And how can we make this work? Black hat comes next, and this is the judgment hat, the devil's advocate, or why something may or may not work. It allows you to spot the difficulties and dangers and where things might go wrong. It's probably the most powerful and useful hats of the Bono 6 thinking hats, but it can be a problem if this hat's overused. So it allows you to consider your proposals critically and logically. It's used to reflect on why a suggestion does not fit the facts, the available experience, or the system in use. Wearing your black hat, you might consider the costs, regulations, the design of something, the resources, or any other safety issues. Red hat. The red hat signifies feelings, hunches, or intuition. When using this hat, you can express emotions and feelings and share fears, likes, dislikes, loves, and hates. Usually feelings and intuition can only be introduced into a discussion if they're supported by logic. Often the feeling is genuine, but the logic may be invalid. Wearing a red hat allows you to put forth your feelings and intuitions without the need for justification, explanation, or apology. Putting on a red hat allows you to express what you feel about the issue. Examples include, my gut feeling is that this won't work, or I don't like the way this has been done, or this idea is terrible. Green hat focuses on creativity. It's the possibilities, the alternatives, and the new ideas. It's an opportunity to express new concepts and new perceptions. So the green hat makes time and space available to focus on creative thinking. Even if no creative ideas are forthcoming, the green hat asks for the creative effort. Often green hat thinking is difficult because it goes against our habits of recognition, judgment, and criticism. Typical questions include, Are there any other ideas here? Are there any additional alternatives? Could we do this in a different way? Could there be another explanation? Finally, blue hat. Now this is used to manage the thinking process that you're going through. It's the control mechanism that ensures the 6 thinking hats guidelines are observed. Blue hat thinking should consider what is the subject, what are we thinking about, and what is our goal. So the blue hat really is the overview or process control. It is for organizing and controlling the thinking process so that it becomes more productive. The blue hat is for thinking about thinking. So in technical terms, the blue hat is concerned with metacognition. Wearing your blue hat, you might consider looking not at the subject itself, but thinking about the subject. It might set the agenda for thinking. It might suggest the next step in the thinking. It might ask for a summary, conclusion, or a decision. So really, this is just it manages the whole system. It's what brings you back to ensure that you're on task and on track for working through each of the hats. Remembering the 6 hats in an assessment or an exam. This can be quite a difficult task to remember the hats and what they represent. I really like this unique approach developed by Louise Addison to help students remember the 6 hats. White hat is information, or the straight facts, right? So think about a cookbook with a clean white page providing the facts or ingredients of a recipe that you need to consider. So white hat, facts and information, just like the white page of a cookbook. Yellow hat represents brightness and optimism. There's nothing better than basking in the glow of a bright yellow sun in the middle of the day in a warm summer month. So use this image to represent brightness and optimism. Yellow hat, brightness and optimism. Black hat, we know it's about negativity and considering the dangers of something or some issue. You could conjure up images of black magic or dark witches to remember this hat. Alright, so black hat, negativity, or dark magic. Red hat is about emotions, your likes, your dislikes, and other emotive feelings. Christmas is always a time that elicits a number of emotions, usually more positive than negative. But try to remember the red being an emotive Christmas day and all those feelings and thoughts that are always common at that time of the year. Green hat is creativity. It's a pretty difficult one to represent here, but think about, say, maybe a leprechaun and how that leprechaun might be creative with the spells that they have to generate. Okay, so green equals creativity. Blue hat is about processes and ensuring that everything's kept under control. The police are a good representation of this hat in the way they oversee law and order. So blue hat is processes. The Bono 6 hats could be used in both a collaborative situation, working with a team or a group, or an individual situation where you're working on an issue alone. So in a collaborative approach, you might present the issue. You might ask small groups representing a specific hat to go away and consider the issue based on what their hat is asking them to do. The blue hat could then circulate the groups, ensuring the processes are followed and that people remain true to their hat. Then the group can come back together and feedback before collaborating on the solution or the next action. On an individual basis, you could use the 6 hats like a process. Work through each hat, brainstorming your thoughts around the specific focus of that hat. Continue to ask yourself the 3 questions from the blue hat. This will ensure that you remain focused and are on task, moving in the direction you need to be heading. Finally, utilize each of your brainstorms to work on developing a solution or next action to take. So to summarize, we looked at the Bono 6 thinking hats. We considered the purpose of each of the 6 hats. We looked at a unique way to remember each hat, and then we discussed 2 ways you might be able to use this tool from that collaborative approach and that individual approach. So complete your whisk sheet, get a question done, and we'll look at using this tool around some issue on violence in sport, New Zealand society, in our next theory lesson. Cheers.